Hey everybody, how's it going? Well, we're out here. It's Sunday afternoon, and we're playing with lanterns, of course. So we have the Winfield Warren. Sorry, it's just the Winfield. This is before they merged. I think they merged because I think I've seen Winfield Warrens or Warrens or whatever. I think they kind of joined forces at some point. Anyways, let's see here. Yeah, a little better. So the Winfield standard, as you can see, is burning a little better. Well, this thing was ghosting like crazy, and it was really annoying because I don't like a dirty burn, because this thing suffered a great deal of dirty burns. In fact, I think that's why the globe that came in it, which is this one here, I put it in my Bull 275, but see the cancer on that? That is a bad case. And it came in this thing. So big number 2 cold blast globe came in this thing. So I put it in the proper frame, which is that 275. Yeah, it's ugly, so what? I know. I like to burn that thing. I don't want to put a nice globe in it. So I like the red globe in that paint. It looks really good together, I think. That's my opinion, and that's what I'm doing. So there. But with a really bad cancered up globe, you might as well just burn it, because it's not going to get better. It's not going to get worse. Well, it might get worse, but hey, who cares? It's trash. It's garbage. No one wants those things. And in my opinion, once a globe starts to cancer up, burn it. Burn it. The prettiness, the collectability of it goes right out the window. I mean, if it's just a little spot on the reverse side or around the top of the edges, then yeah, you stop, and if it still displays fine, great. Don't continue to push it. Anyways, yeah. So I just put that thing in that because it's going to be burned a lot. So I was like, why not? And then once it's beyond the point of saving, then who cares? But it did not belong in this lantern. So I had another hot blast globe on hand, so I put it in here, and it fits well. And it's burning okay. So I've been able to kind of monkey around with it, and it's just kind of got it to where it should be, where it's a little happier. So yeah, I think we might be good on this one. I'm going to still try and adjust it a little better so I get a better burn on it. But hey, it's working. It's not smoking. I will probably, once this fount is done, then I'm going to empty it all out, clean it all out, and then get more BBs inside the air tubes and rattle it all around and get it all cleared out real good. I did that once, and I thought I got everything, but I could have missed some things. When the BBs came out of the air tubes, oh, they were dirty. Oh boy. So I'm not sure of the history of this thing, but it definitely took a beating. For instance, look at the air chamber. The manifold is like beat to crap. Look at that thing. And I mean, yeah, there's dents on the fount. There's a big one on the back. Yeah, this thing's, and it's got some collapsed areas. This thing suffered some damage. It really, and this air tube's got a dent in it, but that's not really harming the burn so much as the way the globe plate sits on the cone. That the cone and the globe plate and the burner, I figured, is the main culprit of this. It's not the air tubes as much, but I got it to work. It's working. So okay. It's not perfect. It's not the most keen, ideal burn, but guess what? Neither is the lantern. The lantern is seen a lot better days, but it's 120 years old, maybe 130. So, you know what? For an old girl, she's doing all right. And when I got this thing, it had a wick that was, where is it? I didn't keep the wick because it was a joke. I should have kept it because it was really funny. But, so this is not the wick, but this is exactly what they had in it. Now, this is a new old stock pair of boot laces. What's the inches on this? 54-inch laces from the 1920s or 30s. And this is exactly what was in that wick. Well, they were using one of these for a wick. And it was a short one. I mean, they cut it down and It was only maybe a 3 or 4 inch section of lace, but it had the same weave, same color, it was black. So with that being said, I says, and it was not a proper fit. It was right in the middle of the channel. It had space on the other side. Okay, I'm like, well, that's dangerous. You're going to get, heat and kerosene wanting to, fill in the blanks. So that could be a potential Roman candle. Seeing as the globe is really cancered up, I would imagine that the previous owner, last time it burned before I became the owner, they probably were burning it like a torch. I'm sure it had, they couldn't really control the flame very well, and it smoked like a son of a gun. And yeah, that was one reason why it was so dirty, because they just burned it like crazy. And that's probably the reason why the cancer was so bad on it, is because it was just so hot, and they burned it high and dirty, and it probably was used outside for fumigating. I don't know. Maybe keeping the mosquitoes away. I can't tell you. The inside of the fountain was really dirty. They might have been burning citronella, or not citronella, tiki torch fuel. Because when I put the acetone in and cleaned it all out, I poured it out, and that was almost black. Because tiki torch fuel is colored. It's got a dark color to it. So this was really bad. So they might have been using tiki torch fluid, and of course the wrong wick, which was actually just a piece of lace, like shoelace. And yeah, so it was all of the things that you're not supposed to do, they were doing, and that probably caused that globe to get all cancered up, and they didn't care. And it's just an old lantern. It's not important to most people. So yeah, but hey, I have it now, and it's burning better now. It's burning a lot cleaner. It's a lot more even. I put a proper wick in it. I can do some more adjustments to the burner. It doesn't rise and lower very well. It has a little bit of a hang up, so I need to iron that out. But with all its faults, it's burning. Yeah, it's doing okay. It's doing all right. It can be better. I still might futz around with it a little bit more and get it to that point where it's going to be a lot happier. But hey, it works. Yeah. Yeah. So we're out here on Sunday, just enjoying some nice relaxation time. I've been going through stuff out here. I have stuff to do. I went through my closet yesterday. I needed to clean out the closet. I have a lot of clothes in there. Old 1930s to 1950s clothes. Mm-hmm. I know I wear a t-shirt and an engineer cap or a ball cap or a fancier hat on my videos, but that's mainly because it's pretty hot. If you go back to some of my other videos, you'll see me wearing something a little fancier, a little different. When the weather starts cooling down, I think I might dress up a little bit more for some of my videos so I can show off my collection of vintage antique clothing. I've had some requests. I've gotten some interest in that. So, with that being said, as much as I love lanterns, I think I will do some videos just on vintage fashion, the accessories, and some of the history about where some of the clothing came from that I have historical Los Angeles connections. Yeah. That might be interesting for you guys. You guys might get a kick out of that, I think. That was one of my big passions, was antique fashion. Now it's funny because I've had a lot of interests over the years. Definitely lanterns was kind of my first passion. It's the first antique thing I really got into that I wanted to collect. Of course, trains. That was my very first interest, was railroads. Steam locomotives, SP 4449, of course, Daylight. Some of the engines at Travel Town, like Western Pacific number 26 was my favorite engine. Still is, even though it's in really bad shape right now. But yeah, I still love trains. I still enjoy antique railroad equipment. I'm not as much of a railroad buff as I used to be when I was a child, but I will still go see a steam engine when it's running, when I can. 3751 Santa Fe, she's back. She was down at Fullerton last weekend. I did not get a chance to go see her, and I feel bad about that because it's been 5 years, and I missed that engine, especially her 6-chime whistle. It's beautiful. But yeah, trains are great. But I went from trains to lanterns, gold rush, 1800s, you know, and then I went into the medieval period. I got it into the medieval times, the Renaissance. Classical music had a big influence on that. And then World War II aircraft. World War II aircraft, trains again, bounced back between there. This was the early 90s. My grandmother, and well, I got into 50s rock and roll music because I really didn't know what kind of music I appreciated because I just listened to what my parents listened to. A lot of soft rock and classical. I did get into classical. I'm not as astute of a classical aficionado as I would like to be, but I'm working on it. But my grandmother noticed that I was listening to 50s rock and roll. This is my late grandmother Smith. She passed away in 95. Come on, keep going. Fight me. Anyway, this was the early 90s. She saw that I had a taste for older music. So she turned me on to big band music. And I took hold to that in a big way. I think with the classical experiences I had earlier on kind of set the stage for that because most big band music's instrumental. The vocalists were a side member of the band. So she introduced me to her generation of music, and I was like, wow, okay. And then I was like, this is like classical with attitude and has a real cool beat, it's danceable. Well, classical is. I'm not saying it's not. There are waltzes and stuff like that, from the classic era. But most classical pieces were for operas and shows and stuff like that. But anyways, chamber music. That being said, big band definitely took my hand and led me to the 40s, the 30s and 40s. And then I got into the automobiles. And then by the mid-90s, I was watching classic movies, and the fashion just impressed me. And I'm like, this is cool. Wow, look how neat that is. And so then by 96, 97, I started buying antique vintage clothing, which was very much possible in Los Angeles and Hollywood. A lot of vintage clothing stores out here. So I started buying a lot of that. And I went swing dancing. That was the 90s was like prime time for the swing dance revival. So yeah, I that was me. I was out there dancing at least 4 times a week, wearing some really cool clothes, and I kept a lot of them. And I still buy vintage clothing when I come across it in my size. It's just getting harder to find. It really is, especially being 6'4". That's right, I'm 6'4". I'm not a short guy, not by any means. So it's hard to find stuff that's tall. But I've managed, and I've gotten some pretty nice things with some help from my other friends that are vintage clothing dealers and also collectors that have been collecting for a longer time than I have. So it's awesome. We all share the passion. But yeah, and then 2016, 2018, then my interest in lanterns kind of was rekindled, and I started buying. I wanted a square tube lantern, and then I found a square tube Victor on eBay, and I bought it, and here we are. Now we have a lot more than I did when I got introduced into the collection, and I didn't know it was a real hobby until I started buying lanterns, and then I found the Bob the Lantern Guy videos, and then he sent me a link to the group Woody Kirk. I'm tripping over my words here. The Kirkman's group. So when he turned me on to that, then I joined it, and it's been all over since. So yeah. Anyway. here we are. 2022, making videos on YouTube. I have almost 330 almost videos I've done. Yeah, it's a lot. So, between the time I make new content, if you like the channel, if you like what I do, go ahead, go back in time. Scroll through the older videos. Take a look. I try and do that with some of my favorite YouTube content providers. I follow a lot of people. And it's interesting because I've actually watched some, YouTube guys, and they actually admit that they don't watch other people's videos. Why? 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 Nothing personal, but that seems very insecure. If you can't watch somebody's videos and maybe find some enjoyment out of it, maybe even give some critiques or how they can improve their game. If you have all the answers, don't know. But I watch other people's videos. Shout out to Ken with Lots of Trains. I am a subscriber and I watch his videos. Every Sunday when he puts up a new video, I watch his videos. He's a very nice guy. I would like to collaborate with him, do a joint lantern video at some point in time. I know he's on the Jersey coast, and I'm here in California. So geographically, not going to happen. But maybe we'll figure out a Zoom method. We can do FaceTime or something like that. But anyways, we'll figure something out so we can do a joint video maybe at some time. So just putting it out there. I've already talked to him about it. He liked the idea. But anyways, there's also Scout Crafters over in New York. Shout out to Scout. And another friend of mine from Facebook, Matthew Cumberledge, he started making videos about lanterns too. Guess what? I subscribed. I think I was the first person to comment on one of his videos. I'm not bragging. I'm not saying, look at what I do. I'm the best friend ever. No, nothing like that. I like to be supportive. Well, this is what I do. It's just what I do for fun. And I'm glad I have followers. I'm glad I have subscribers. I'm glad I have an interest from you guys. I am grateful for that. And you put up with me with my pipe and my funnel lanterns that I share. But like I said, we're going to try and dig up some clothes once the weather starts cooling down. I'm going to dress up and do a video and some of my nicer vintage clothing, so you can actually get an idea of how vast the collection really is, besides just tubular lanterns. And I might be doing some antique radio related content too, where I can share a particular radio, give a little backstory, how I acquired it, and whatnot. So yeah, we're going to round out this channel. It's not just going to be lanterns. It's going to be, of course, primarily lanterns. It's what it's created around, but we're going to do some other stuff. We're going to have fun. I'm getting a little more adventurous. With that being said, I'll let you guys go. It's been long enough of me just talking at you guys. But the Winfield is doing better, and it's only going to get better from here on out. I'm going to keep on working at it, and we're going to get this thing to burn like really well. I am faithful that will happen. So with that being said, hope you guys enjoy the rest of your weekend, which is practically over. It's Sunday. But we will see you again on Wednesday, which is probably going to be hot, because the forecast that I got is it's going to start warming up again about middle of the week. Why? Stop it. It's October. It's October. Oh, speaking of October, we're going to do a Halloween edition. So once we get up to the week of Halloween, well, Halloween's on a Monday this year, so the week prior, I'll do a Halloween content. I probably will do a jack-o'-lantern, and we'll talk about some interesting things that might chill you, might scare you, I don't know. It's Halloween. It's supposed to be scary, right? Nothing too crazy, but I will share some personal experiences of paranormal type of activity. You can take it or leave it. Say what you will, but it'll be fun, and we're going to be doing a Halloween content the week prior to Halloween. Okay? Sounds good? All right. It's a date. Sounds good. We'll see you guys again on Wednesday. Bye-bye.